Sousou no Frieren is a story, or at least first chapter, that takes place after the hero's party has vanquished the great evil. This is a really good and really interesting first chapter. It's not necessarily one that is setting up what the rest of the story is going to be about, but it is very much so used to set up the titular character Frieren. It's got a nice, well-written start to it, with the main party especially. Through their reminiscing and simple conversations, you do get an idea of the dynamics that they all had with each other. It's all very endearing. You just have fun banter throughout the chapter, at least for as long as it lasts. And through Frieren's, it was short, though you really do get the idea of the implied, almost sadness behind the story, because it was a 10-year-long journey for them to beat this evil demon king or whatever, but being an elf, of course, her life is incredibly long, and that is essentially just a footnote in her life. And from there, we hit the end of the first half of this chapter with the era meteors, where this happens once every 50 years, and so the party agrees that in another 50 years they will once again meet up to see this again. And of course, 50 years later, as one would expect, everyone aside from Frieren has aged in that time. And so the party together for one last time sees the era meteors 50 years later, and after all this time, in his old age, Himmel passes away, and we finally hit the truly emotional through point of this chapter. Frieren, having lived such a long life and going to continue living that long life, those 10 years weren't necessarily something that she'd recognize as deeply as the others did. And so when Himmel dies, she finally recognizes it, and the grief hits her. As the emotions pile up, what she truly regrets more than anything is the fact that she never really got to know Himmel. The fact that in all those years, what was small to her was such a major part of a human being's life. That small percentage was a massive one for him, and yet in that time, she never truly got to know the man. And so, in one smaller but still emotionally effective moment, Frieren, continuing her journey to discover the world's magic, asks the dwarf Ison, not looking like he's aged nearly as much as the others, to join him as a vanguard. And yet, of course, the age even slowly starts to hit him, and he is unable to wield his axe the way that he used to be, and so she must continue to journey on her own as she has for the past 50 years. It's a very unique but poignant first chapter. I really love the idea of discovering this character after she has already dealt with the final quest, but continuing her life as the rest of her party ages away. It leaves me very interested for what the rest of the story potentially has.